Welcome to the Bourbon Van. I'm Phil. It's Whiskey in the Van Wednesday, and today we have a special 2020 limited release Maker's Mark SE4 PR5. What? Obviously, this is a 2020 release from Maker's Mark. It's difficult to open. Oh, we got it. SE4 PR5 indicates the types of staves and the amount of time they spent in the barrel. So this is a labor-intensive bourbon, similar to Maker's 46, where they will actually age the product in a barrel, remove it from the barrel, put 10 oak staves in the barrel. They'll refill that barrel with the original bourbon. It really amps up that typical Maker's Mark profile, so you get more vanilla, more caramel, more oak, really more of the good stuff. If you're familiar with Maker's 46 and Maker's Mark, you already know what I'm talking about. So for all of its resemblance to Maker's 46, this bottle's a little bit different in two ways. First off, it's been proofed up to 110.8 proof. They use two different staves to create a completely different flavor profile. In this instance, they've used a marriage of virgin toasted American and French oak staves. SE4 PR5 is one of the worst names I've ever seen on a bourbon bottle before. I can appreciate what they're doing. However, SE4 PR5 to me sounds like a 90s hacker handle or a robot villain from a sci-fi B movie or a license plate maybe. It's not a great name. Go ahead and keep that information on the bottle. I'm a details guy. I like to see that stuff, but toasted American and French oak staves, you can't think of a better name? Come on, Maker's Mark. Here's a freebie. An American barrel in Paris. There you go. Just start sending me checks and bottles and I'll start giving you names. How about that? Thanks, Maker's Mark. I appreciate it. There are other Maker's products coming out that are similar to this proof. Maker's 46 cask strength, Maker's Mark cask strength, range from 108 to 114 proof depending on what batch you get. So this is going to be a little bit similar to that. The difference here is the tasting notes. So they use these special staves and the tasting notes read barrel finished for amplified notes of vanilla, baking spices, and creamy caramel. Sounds pretty good to me. I think that's probably enough about this bottle. Maker's Mark's very well known in the industry, really popular. This bottle here's a little rare. If it's difficult to find in your neck of the woods as well, we're going to talk about comparable bottles a little bit later on that should be easier for you to find. Now I think we should get this bottle open and get into it. Oh, that was a good pop. So I have not been able to find cask strength 46 yet, so this should be a totally different experience for me than I'm used to with Maker's Mark. So I'm ready to get into the nose. Here we go. Right off the bat, baking spices, some cinnamon, caramel, vanilla, a little oak, baked goods. It kind of reminds me of walking around a bakery. That's not bad. Let's go in one more time to the nose and see if we find anything else. I'm getting baked apples now, which fits perfectly with this profile. The caramel, the vanilla, the cinnamon. Yeah, I'm ready for a sip of this one. Let's have it. Cheers. Yeah, that's a ton more flavor than I'm used to on a Maker's Mark product. The baking spice and the heat are the first two things that I notice. You're not going to forget about the proof on this one. But I'm also getting that nice cinnamon. There's definitely some baked good in there. Something bready or maybe a crust of some type. Let's go back in and see what else we find. Yeah, apple notes are starting to show up. Brighter flavors are starting to show up. Caramel notes are starting to show up. The vanilla is here. It's really creating some strong but cohesive flavors. Let's go for another sip. Yeah, that's really coming together nicely. That crust flavor I was getting is like the cross-hatch dough that lays across the top of a pie that you sprinkle the big chunks of raw sugar on. I'm also getting a caramel note that's also reminiscent of pie. That caramel that sort of bakes onto the edges of a pie and sticks in your teeth. I'm getting some of that as well. The apple, the vanilla, the caramel, it's all coming together. Let's take one more sip and see where this goes. Yeah, this is some sort of apple dessert. It's either pie or a crumble. The cinnamon, the vanilla, that raw sugar note, a little bit of brown sugar even, the caramel is all over the place. It's all coming together in one cohesive flavor. It's just remarkable. I'm gonna take one more sip and see what we find on the finish. The finish is where the oak really shows up. It's still very sweet. There's that lingering spice. The vanilla is still there, but the star here on the finish is the oak. Those staves that they added, that's where this is coming through. So I've identified this cohesive flavor, and what you've got here is apple pie. This is a baked apple pie with the caramel, the gooiness, the crosshatch over the top, the dough with the sprinkled sugar on top, and everything baked together. And I think I might have a new idea. For you folks in the North Woods, I'm talking Minnesota, Wisconsin, Upper Peninsula, I know you like your apple pie with a slice of cheese on top. So here's what I recommend. Take a little bit of cheddar, melt it down, put just a drop in there. Take a sip, And I think you're going to thank me. I think you're going to be excited. You're going to say, you know what, that Phil, he's a genius. Maybe Phil for president. Maybe we put his name on the ballot. I know everybody in the upper Midwest, you've got my back. I love you guys too. But look, I'm not interested in politics. You want to write my name in, that's fine. But please don't campaign on my behalf. I'm not that interested. But take that note about the apple pie. I don't know if putting cheddar in here is a good idea or not. Give it a shot if you want. I don't know. Obviously, I am a fan of Maker's Mark. I am a big fan of this bottle in particular. Let's talk value and other bottles that compare to this one. The two most obvious comparisons are made by Maker's Mark themselves. This bottle retails for $60. Maker's Mark cask strength sells right in that same neighborhood, and 46 cask strength is also retailing for $60. This one is especially unique because of the staves that are being used, but it's not so different that if you couldn't find this bottle, that one of those bottles would suit you. I'm thinking this bottle and Maker's Mark cask strength will probably be cousins, whereas this bottle and Maker's 46 cask strength are probably more like siblings. Now, considering other high proof wheated bourbons not made by Maker's Mark, the only one that really jumps to mind is Larceny Barrel Proof, which I really love and sells for $50. So you're saving yourself $10 if you can find Larceny Barrel Proof. Beyond Larceny Barrel Proof, I don't think that there's a lot that competes with this bottle, not in that price range. Compared to other $60 bottles like Old Forester 1920, maybe Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, there are other really solid bottles in that price range, but for $60, I think that this is a great value and it'll give you something really unique. So ultimately, do I recommend this bottle? Absolutely. Also, Maker's 46 cask strength, I haven't tried it yet, but I have a feeling that that's also going to be a really good value at that $60 price point. On secondary, I could see maybe paying $80 for a bottle like this, but I think that with all the options that are out there, it's really not worth chasing this bottle on secondary. Ultimately, for me, this is a good value, a great bottle, and I highly recommend it. So if you purchased this bottle already and you've tried it, let us know what you think of it. If you skipped this bottle to get something else, let us know what you got and let us know what you thought of that. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so and hit that bell so you get a notification every single time we publish a new video. Right now, I think it's time for me and this bottle to get to know each other a little bit better. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it helps you make a decision if you see this bottle in the future. And from wherever we are to wherever you are, cheers.